Alright. Let me blow this up. Gotta be a better way to blow this up. How do I get the channel chat of Facebook? Anyways, I'm craftyandy. I just joined this Family Values Children's Book Club. Thankfully, I list all its members here. This will be fun. Yeah, I'm working on my own book. Nice to have a ring of support here, right? I'm a little divided in the chat, right? Let's see. I don't know. Can I? There we go. Already got one guy. Eric Castleman posting shit about PragerU, yet there's supposed to be rules against politics, quote unquote. We got this stupid shit. Alright. It's time to learn. I gotta learn how to work my book, you know? Make my book. How to beat the woke children's publishing industry at its own game. Alright, it's the lesson I gotta take into heart here, right? Let's see. Children's book publishing industry. From authors to publishers to librarians, believes it should have the power to control your children's minds. Let's get into the, yeah, there we go. This is more appropriate. Turn down the music. Alright. So, how to beat the woke children's publishing industry its own game. Is this article going to define woke for us? I highly doubt it. 7-minute read. Shouldn't be too hard. The children's book publishing industry, from authors to publishers to librarians, believes it should have the power to control your children's minds, and has progressively gained that access. Ooh, there's a link to that. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole. A woke children's literature cabal is conditioning your kid to be an obedient leftist. What books are we talking about? Like Catcher in the Rye? To Kill a Mockingbird? Huck Finn? Are those the types of books that we're talking about? These leftist progressive books? At least that's what they'd be talking about in the 1960s. Authors must include instant, positive acceptance of any woke social agenda portrayed in their stories. If they don't include this, they won't get published by medium and large houses. What's woke? This normalization of leftist ideology looks like the real world in books. When kids are shocked by something they read, that shock shifts to shame for being shocked in the first place. What the hell? They will then replace their shame with acceptance. This is the power of normalization. Ah, yes, when I learned about boys loving boys, I was just immediately shocked. And then shamed. I was ashamed of myself for being shocked at that. Now, see, what shocked me as a kid was the Blob 1980s remake. That shocked me as a kid. But also Monster Blood from the Goosebumps series. That also shocked me because, you know, you don't have to really try that hard to shock a kid. Some kind of gelatin monster eating you was very terrifying to me as a kid. The Relic was a shock to me as a kid. That was a monster movie. Warlock 2, that was another one. Mainly anything involving death. But but this is so vague. This could mean anything. What's gonna? The things that shock a kid are not necessarily going to be what these people think it is. That sounds about right. Publishing companies are no longer focused on quality writing, but rather on spreading of leftist ideology. Their distribution catalogs are organized by agenda, not just genre. Awards are given to the most woke stories, and traditional values are mocked. I mean, traditional values are just peer pressure from dead people. Should I open that up? Should I open this up with that in the chat here? The general chat messenger. Oh boy, good ideas, huh? Let's get some good ideas. Library systems have weeded out books with traditional values and replaced them with modern Marxist tales. Isn't there a slew of books being banned in certain schools? What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, let's see. List of books banned. Let's challenge this person right now. No, no, no. I want the list of books that are banned. Yep, Moss. Lord of the Flies. Oh, no, I want recent ones, though. I know these were banned when they first came out in a lot of places. I know Moss was recently banned in some places. That's one, at least. There we go. The 11 most banned books of the start of the 2022 and 2023. Genderqueer, Flamer, Tricks, The Handmaid's Tale, Crank. No, I know no idea what any of this is. Sold. Nope. Let's see. What's Push about? Doesn't say what it's about. That sucks. Book is gay. Milk and Honey. No idea. What? I'm trying to be real nice here, because I know if I say traditions are just peer pressure from dead people, Will Terry himself will probably just come on here and kick me out. You know, one way or another, I want to be part of this group. So, you know what? If I get kicked out, I'll just go on a different account. I have a middle name for a reason. I can't say it. I want to say it, but I know the reaction would just be like, bye-bye. Alright. You know, gotta hide my power level, as they say. Alright, weed out books with traditional values, replace them with modern Marxist tales. Yes, as we saw here, so many Marxist tales. The book teaching people about gays and lesbians existing, and how sex works. Just like a traditional sex ed book. Tricks. 5 troubled teenagers fall into prostitution as they search for freedom, safety, community, family, and love. Which is something that actually happens to a lot of fucking kids when they get kicked out of their homes. And I got my own video I gotta make on this shit now, don't I? Don't I? make sure my chat works. Yep, there we go. Anyways, let's continue this stupid fucking article. I just don't get it, you know, just... Florida, empty bookshelves. Empty bookshelves. A whole bunch of books being pulled so they can sift through them and figure out which ones are allowed to be around. What a way to make books... What a way to make reading cool again. Catcher in the Rye, I believe that. I mean, shit. Alright, this is where I'm going to approach this. Oh, that's right. Anne Frank was, Diary Anne Frank was banned in one school. Yeah. Illustrated Anne Frank book. I like how this one says it's Anne Frank pornography. Wow, man. Alright, I'm not going to say traditions are peer pressure from dead people. You know, that's correct. What's this article going on about? It doesn't even list any, does it? There's no link to anything. Which ones? There. Perfect, innocuous chat right here. Oh, Dalen, you're just in time. You're always just in time. But anyways. So, I'm going to bring you up to speed because this is fun. So, I'm making my children's book, right? Well, I don't want to call it a children's book, but whatever. It's a book. It's a book about mice. And I got into this Family Values children's book chat. Which Family Values, if you don't know, is already a red flag because it usually just means like anti-gay, anti-queer, traditional values, you know, peer pressure from dead people. So, already in the fucking messenger chat, someone links to me this article we're going over right now. How to beat the woke children's publishing industry at its own game. The children's book publishing industry, from authors to publishers to librarians, believes it should have the power to control your children's minds and has progressively gained that access. Authors must include instant positive acceptance of any woke social agenda portrayed in their stories. Well, what's woke? What's woke? Define woke. Gay people existing? Black history? If they don't include this, they won't get published by medium and large houses. Normalization of leftist ideology looks like the real world in books. When kids are shocked by something they read, that shock shifts to shame for being shocked in the first place. Well, what would be shocking to a kid other than like a surprise scare or violence? You know, when you're a kid, seeing mommy and daddy kissing can be shocking. Like, ew, I don't want to see that. Ew, girls, get away. Why is there an ad for a gun? That's a good question. Probably because it's this is one of these probably right-wing sites, the Federalists. So that's the only kind of ads they can ever get are like gun sites, gun companies, and vitamin supplements and survivalist shit. Alright, the general definition of woke is just simply being aware of social issues in regards to other people besides yourself, usually minorities, and how certain things in society and how they function can be systemic. For example, crack and cocaine are essentially the same drug. One is used by mainly rich people, one is mainly used by poor people slash black people. Yet, when it comes to the law, you can go away in prison for a really, really long time for crack as opposed to cocaine. It's treated completely different, and the people who use it are treated completely different. That's an example of something like systemic discrimination. That's just me pulling shit out of my head from the real world, secondhand. But, you know, I'm probably going to get right here. Adjective derived from African American vernacular English meaning alert to racial prejudice and discrimination. But now when it comes to these people, it just means anything they don't like. So you talk about gay people, these are all banned books, by the way. Talking about gay people, that's woke. You talk about black history, that's woke. Someone complaining about police brutality or conditions in prisons, or even like trying to implement programs that would make your job easier and less dangerous, and you know, in certain conditions, that would be considered woke because you're trying to change things. You're trying to focus more on rehabilitation rather than punishment, whatever. Like, I would love the idea of your job being like, hey, you know what, you gotta stand guard, but hey, you can be as laid back as you want. You know, watch some movies. You know, just gotta make sure that the prisoners are fed and whatever. And these are legitimately violent offenders, but hey, you know what? They're going to have mandatory meetings. They're not just going to mingle with each other and sit with their thoughts and justify their actions. Oh boy. Anyways, we'll skip over here to here are 4 ways parents can help keep their children safe. Oh yeah, this is the thing that really got me. Library systems have weeded out books with traditional values and replaced them with modern Marxist tales. What's a modern Marxist tale? Books donated by well-meaning individuals are discarded based on new system policies. Librarians themselves are more than happy to display, promote, and order books that are in line with their leftist values, as if all the librarians are conspiring together to push the Marxist agenda, not the values of the families who used to frequent the children's library departments. Yeah, well, the books that are being weeded out are books like Moss, which is about the Holocaust, which I have. I have the Forbidden Book. Another one was a book about Anne Frank, which I'm probably going to get this book now, too. Yeah, I'll get the hardcover edition. Not now, though. Wait till I get paid. This got banned. Labeled as pornography. Anything explaining like how sex works, like legitimately sex ed books are being banned out of schools. So give me a fucking break. So that's why I went back to this chat and I'm like, weren't there a bunch of books just got banned from libraries such as Moss and an Anne Frank graphic novel, for example? What's this article going on about traditional books we weeded out? Which ones? Well, I think that they don't get published in the first place is the issue. Which ones? Because self-publishing is the route to go, right? Yeah, I would like to see... Alright. Shift the narrative. Work to normalize traditional values again, whatever those traditional values are. In some countries, the traditional value is to throw me off a fucking cliff for liking dick. But anyways, oh, it also used to be a tradition here to just enslave black people and beat them up and kill Indians. And that was a good tradition for a while. Anyway, seek out creative content for your kids that aligns with your moral foundation. Become aware of the tactics entrenched in the present industry and recognize where they are working to infiltrate your children's minds. Yes, children are so malleable. You know, I always say children are stupid and they drive me nuts. I don't want to be around them, but at the same time, I also know that they're not exactly that stupid. Hence why I was able to... If they were, then I'd be fucking emulating Freddy Krueger when I was 8 years old. I'd be trying to go into people's dreams and murdering them. Or Jason Voorhees. Make sure that when your kids are exposed to content in books, shows, or movies that goes against their moral understanding, they still feel shocked. What do you mean they feel shocked? Once again, things that shocked me as a kid. 1980s Blob. Monster Blood from Goosebumps. Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. Those things shocked me. Beast Wars, the cartoon series, shocked me when I thought Optimus Primal died. That shocked me. And then have a discussion with them about those situations so their shock doesn't turn to shame. Keep the shock. Don't allow the shame. Provide media that normalizes the values you want to normalize. And then we'll have discussions about what our kids are taking in. If we allow the normalization of woke agendas into our children's minds, that is what will become normal. Instead, normalize traditional values. Homeschool your kids. No. Completely against this shit. Fuck this shit. All it seems right now in this country is just an excuse to just indoctrinate your children and brainwash them and groom them into becoming Christian. Teach them about, instead of teaching them about normal science, you teach them about creationism. And you set them up for failure. And when the only jobs they can get, not that there's anything wrong with them, are like blue-collar work, and they get fucked over, they're not going to know where to properly direct their wrath. Which should be the companies that own them. Not the fucking queer that's living down the road from them. Let's see, homeschool your kids. This shift in children's book publishing industry is magnified 100-fold in the education world. Books are just one tool teachers and administrators use within their arsenal. They want control over what is being introduced into your children's minds. And what they want is not what you want. I hear from so many parents that their local school is a good one and not like what you hear in the news. That's pretty much true. They are wrong. Every school in America has been infiltrated. Every school in America has been infiltrated. All 50 states, all various districts within those states have been infiltrated by the communist, Marxist, homosexuals. Hey, Dalen, you just got out of school, like, I don't know, a few years ago? Remember when they gave you the Marxist manifesto and the Communist manifesto? The takeover has happened from all sides, whether parents see it or not. Any sacrifice it takes to remove your kids from this rapidly building systemic shift and bring them back under your wing will be worth the effort. At home, you can choose the books you read to them. They don't want to focus on books here, but didn't that fucking happen during the desegregation of schools? You can't let these black people in our school. I'm pulling my kid from school. Seek new sources. Although we are behind the 8 ball, there is a new rising industry in America of clean content for kids. Clean books, shows, and movies that normalize traditional values instead of social agendas. The other side controls the existing industry structure, but this new rising industry is doing things differently. They're going around the existing structure and reaching directly to families that are eager to find them. Who would have ever dreamed that in America there would be a drastic need for a new industry to arise that provides clean, traditional content for kids? This is where we are. Seek out authors and publishers you can trust and support them in their efforts to bring families clean books. Request their books to be ordered by your library. Tell your friends and family members about these new businesses and encourage their support as well. The best way to combat the indoctrination of this generation is to provide an alternative collection of creative content for kids. Yeah? Create new libraries. Build your own home, church, or community library filled with books worthy of reading. Oh yeah, let me just get right on that. Let me just secure a plot of land and build my own church. I'll just take out a small loan from my dad at $1 million, and we'll get started. Lay down the foundation, get a bunch of Kickstarter funds together. As the industry continues to censor and change historical titles, yeah, except it's going on the opposite way right now. And only publish new books filled with their agendas. We can push back by gathering and creating our own collections and share them with all the neighborhood kids. Oh, man. Let's see what else we got. Whoa, what is this? I know of homeschool moms who, through organizing, collecting, and sharing their resources, have expanded the reach of good books exponentially in their co-ops? We're talking about co-ops here? I thought that's a communist thing. Whoa there, buddy. We're talking about co-op businesses? Excuse me? We're talking about workers owning the business altogether? Everyone has a share and stake in the business? I don't know about this. This sounds kind of woke to me. I know of church groups creating libraries of strong, clean literature, whatever the fuck that is, for their congregations to borrow and share. This is the type of library we can all support and help build up for the rising generation. You know, my church had a library like that for a while, too. That's how I got exposed to McGee and Me. A really low effort, tweeny, educational, Bible-laden film. They tried to put it on TV by editing out all the Bible parts, but even that wasn't good enough to put it on TV. It never got a official airing. If you have a local public or school library that is weeding out their titles, find out what it takes to get your hands on them. This is funny because it's true on the opposite sense. They're weeding out a lot of these fucking titles. List of banned, let's see. List of banned books in Texas. I think it's over 80 now. Here's a guide to all the banned books in Texas schools. Something that wasn't even a fucking problem until just recently. You know, these books were in there for decades. Oh man, don't read the topic. Books about race. Yeah, the made-up boogeyman of critical race theory. According to a list compiled by literature and human rights nonprofit PEN America. All right, here we go. List of books. I just love how the opposite's true here. Shit. Create new libraries. Just create a new library, everybody. Thankfully, there are still many children's book authors who are unwilling to compromise themselves to meld into modern expectations. There is a growing number of new publishers rising up, as well as established Christian publishers branching out to fill the void left by industry-shifting agendas. There's a smattering of librarians who hold firm. Oh, so there are some good librarians. Okay. And quietly fight the battle of one book order at a time. And there's much that families can do to push back personally against the onslaught from all sides of children's media. Beware, be firm, be proactive, we will win. And more ads for guns. Newest PID, Weapon Light series, hell yeah. More gun ads. That's all they can get. From the Federalist, lovers of freedom and anxious for the fray. Unless you're queer, then we don't like your freedom. You don't get that freedom. Get back in the closet. Oh, here's a list of rising book publishers. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, here's a list of companies to look out for. Let's see, Chicken Scratch Books, Brave Books, PragerU Kids, Daily Wire Kids. That's a fucking nightmare. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what books are recommended from these publishers here. Speculation, but in the upside down world we are living in, traditional books will get banned as being sexist, racist, and pornography will be defended. In this new world of diversity, equity, and inclusion, the one thing that cannot be tolerated is diversity of thought. Is that why, is that why they ban books on sex ed and consent to protect diversity of thought by erasing it? Oh man. Oh. No, I gotta play the game. I gotta hide the power level. Hide the power level. Suppress it. I'm trying real hard to hide my power level right now. Who the fuck's this loser? Jim Gleason. Alright, let's learn about Jim Gleason. Jim Gleason. See what he has on his page. See if he's smart enough to actually, like, private his fucking page. I doubt it. Oh, he's not on the list here. Well, what gives? The, requesting that his information be, protected from the list? Alright, we have one mutual friend in here. Oh, Will Terry, of course. No, he's got his own little book being worked on in here, huh? Okay. Whoa, okay. Hey, okay, what did he join? Visual banter, followed by 69 people. Got a Twitter, he's got a LinkedIn. Alright. $100 million commitment to green entertainment can trust. This is going to be a little pet project here. I gotta get as much information as possible. What traditional books? I'm not gonna last. I'm not gonna last if I keep up. I'm just gonna start spewing. I'm not gonna curse or anything, but no better than that. I'm just gonna Yep, I'm just gonna quietly build myself up on this group and quietly observe, just like I did with that Discord group. We're shutting it down. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. We'll go from there. Whoop. That's on Facebook, apparently. Alright. Because I can't fucking wait. Let's, you know, I'm gonna bookmark this. Oop. Let's see. This group is for parents, authors, and illustrators of family values books, both indie published and publisher books. Send me a friend request. Let's share our favorite children's books that aren't woke. If you're an author or illustrator, please only promote your book once a month. Yep. No hate speech or bullying. That's cute. Be kind and courteous. You may promote your book once a month. All right. Well, I ain't gonna bother this chat. I got my book. I got the first page sketched up. Got a character sheet made up. I'm going to clean that up a bit, and I'm going to start promoting my book on here. You know what? I'm going to use these weirdos to my benefit. It's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be so fucking beautiful. I wonder if I should get someone I know that's an artist too involved in this. Yeah, let's close it. Alright, I got my screenshot there. Alright, let's get to editing this video. Over the weekend here, I'm going to promote my book on this. But for now, yeah. Well, let's go at least, I want to go at least through some of the posts on here. Hello from Canada. I'm here too because I've been missing the days when books are simply fun stories, because you can't have fun and education at the same time, or have a story about something and be fun, you know? Land Before Time, totally not fun. Catcher in the Rye, psh. Whatever that means, like a totally fun book. Like a totally fun book to me is just like ABC 1, 2, 3. Like your true kids books. They're true basic kids book. Tales of Mischief and Mayhem. Like I bet you any money that this guy doesn't even have anything like I would consider regressive in this book. I would be surprised if there was anything in here. You know, it's just a silly book, and there's not even like a specific focus, one way or the other. And someone convinced him that the reason why his book is not being published is because it doesn't include any kind of like progressive message in there or something like that. Someone got their hooks into him. He's another victim of the hubris. Oh man, I mean, let's see here. Let's see, feature my own books featuring Frankie Banky, a cartoon fox who stutters just like me. Oh man, a speech impediment. I don't know. I thought we're not trying to push any woke agendas here. Jesus. Grateful for this group. I am homeschool my 4 kids and struggle with our library that has woke books in the section for toddler, early elementary. Define woke. Is Claudia with a chance of meatballs woke? One day I will write and illustrate my own books. In the meantime, I'm working on voice acting and hope to also narrate children's book and pictures of children's favorites. Show me a woke book, man. Yeah, this is a book I grew up with as a kid. I don't remember anything other than the cover. About, you know, how kids get into mischief. Forgotten. Pretty crudely illustrated, in my opinion. How to be kind, okay. Buddy's new buddy. Some long-time industry writers and illustrators in here. Cover for a Christian book series about a little girl who doesn't fit in so well in this world, but who finds herself a prophet in another world. What? If your story sucks, just say it's Christian, you know? Alright. Well, when I get my pages cleaned up here, I'm gonna post on this group. In the meantime, though, tonight before work, when I get to work on this video. Yep, I'm gonna play nice. I'm gonna play the long game. I'm not one to, like, trying to get mobs on people, because I know, like, death threats and harassment don't necessarily are not necessarily helpful. If anything, to me, they're invigorating. That's why I don't necessarily want to. I don't try to do them in any way. I'm like, oh shit, someone's really pissed off at me. Means whatever I'm doing, I gotta do more of it. Promote your book once a month. Be kind and courteous. Oh, I sure will. I sure will. Alright, now that the emotion has calmed a bit, I can be more focused on the propping myself up on here. Because you know what? I want to serve as a counter to this bullshit here that we're looking at right now. More so than any of these other people are going to be in support of it. One way or another. Yes, I can see it happening. Yeah, here's one. Okay, I'm gonna chat this one more thing I'm gonna add to the chat here. You know what? If I get banned from here, I'm just gonna make a new account and I'll be back in there. But I gotta talk to this Jim fella. I definitely gotta challenge his viewpoint just a little bit. I do feel it's a little bit of my responsibility to challenge a person like this. Like of Mice and Men. Got a list of banned books where you're right, there is an effort to erase diversity of thought. Alright. But, you know. But, oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah, don't want to stir things up. Keep things pleasant. Gotta get some work done on my book. Hope you all like it. Hope you all like it. You're right, there is an effort to erase diversity of thought. Keep things pleasant and respectable here. Love being here. Loving this. Oh man, I can't say anything sarcastic. With 329, right? Yep, there it is. Mice and Men. All right. Let's just let that sit for a while. I want to see this because this guy's not an admin or anything. He ain't gonna get fucking. I don't think he's an admin. All right. Damn it. You know what? I gotta. Fuck it. All right. I'll be right back. Be right back. I'm gonna take a picture of my book. Start promoting my pages. All right. Yeah, put in my. Open up Rita. And, I'm going to take these pictures. In the files. After saying something like that, I definitely probably should just demonstrate, like, hey, look, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Do 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 do. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Ooh. Do 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 do. Take me to the goddamn page, please. Oh my god. There we go. All right. I'm not going to antagonize, I promise. Go to selection. Together. Ooh, did he respond? How am I following this? Oh, okay. Because I'm tagged. Awesome. Glad to be here. Alright. Yep, I'm gonna use them to my advantage. I would be surprised if this guy just doesn't just cut me off entirely. Just like, whatever, you drank the Kool-Aid. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna bring some people I know in the loop on this. Just so they know ultimately where I stand. This is going to be a fun time. All right. Lock these guides down. I gotta do this anyway so I can keep up with like the progress of my work. So it's not like I'm just doing it out of this sheer group. And we want to do adjustment layer, filter. Probably just like, I'm probably going to put myself on notice here. As soon as anything like quote unquote woke shows up. You know, there's nothing really I would consider woke in my book that I'm working on right now, but who knows? These people pull shit out of their ass all the time. Just recently, actually, the Barbie movie got banned from Vietnam for suggesting that I don't know, some kind of anti-communist propaganda, they said, or something pro-China. Because in the trailer, there's a drawn map, and they believe it represents some kind of political thing in that regard. I don't know, it's stupid. And then in the States, there's a bunch of people protesting the Barbie movie, stating that it's pro-communist, and then it makes men look bad, and it's all about like men bad, woman good. So there's that angle going on with it too. All just makes no sense. Whoa, what the fuck? Okay. Mice in Paradise. Let's see. Group. Pages. Progress. Character concept. And page 1. Doobie doobie doo. Mice in Paradise. Page 1. Pencil. All right. Export it as a PNG. Page 1. Pencil. Seems like he has no response to that. Oh man, oh man. Got nothing to say? Jimmy boy? Come on, Jimmy. Come on. Alright, anyways, let's promote our book. Promoting well. Yeah, traditional books, right? It's gonna be traditional mediums like ink and watercolor. I should be recording this part. There we go. That's pretty pleasant, right? Man, I have to make a separate gallery. Well, actually, what I always needed is my own personal website, really. I forgot what the size is going to be. I can't publish my YouTube channel. Bad. Well, they might like Mr. Anti-Woke. They probably think I was unironically being that. Well, we'll see. We shall see. Eight and a half, or is it 8 by? Children's book sizes. Kind of important to remember that. I know it was like 8 by 8 or 8.5 by 8.5. It was a square. Eight and a half by 8.5. Okay. Make a note of that so I don't forget it. It's a project I'm going to be carrying on with me for a while, assuming I live that long. Yeah, I can't really spread any what I'm doing here yet, because there's always some person in some group that might get them winded on me. what I'm really about. We'll see. Just be patient. Alright, now I published that. Let's get to work on this book. Video. Oh yeah, New Tumblr doesn't exist. Got the introduction done on here. I have one more insert to put in here. Oh, I have one more sound recording to put. Alright. Oh. What is this? Oh, fuck it. Okay. Even though these people were no longer in my life and never would be ever again, and they probably wouldn't act the way I would think that they would act, and they wouldn't act the way I was imagining them, I knew this, but I could not help it and think, wow, Andy, where's your successful art career, Andy? Wow, Andy, why aren't you working for MTV or something right now, Andy? Look at you. Weirdo. Freak. How do you expect to be accepted by the masses when you're such an abnormal? There we go. But you know, I guess that's that woke agenda. Ah, fuck me. Yeah, the other reason I have to be careful too is that my just like all these other people with Facebook, it's your actual name is tied to things, so you know. If I do anything unethical, it's on me. I guess that'll keep me behaving a little bit. Not really. It'll just keep me behaving from doing anything illegal. That's all it will do. Okay, I think this is where we are adding things on here.
That time the 12th grade hit, we were jumping up in the air. All this shit was. And then that was all going away within the year. The music I was drawn to definitely helped. Metallica and Nine Inch Nails especially. Today. That is bullshit. And likely will lead to some cult book. Is like, subscribe, and consider be. There was a book that comes to mind. It's called The Subtle Art of Not. None of this shit mattered, and we knew it was in the 9th grade when we started expanding my horizons in terms of understanding other people and the world we live in. Gave me more of a grip on. Then lastly, I would get over my personal insecurities and stop letting the past and societal expectations weigh me down. I didn't just want a normal job, I didn't want kids, and I had a lot.
I think it'll fit here. And they probably wouldn't act the way I would think that they would act. And they wouldn't act the way I was imagining them. I knew this, but I could not help it and think, wow, Andy, where's your successful art career, Andy? Wow, Andy, why aren't you working for MTV or something right now, Andy? Look at you. Weirdo. Freak. How do you expect to be accepted by the masses when you're such an abnormal? I knew this, but I could not help it and think, wow, Andy. Okay. And then conformed comes to mind. And the other connection to this would also be the fact that many people won't understand you unless they are able to put themselves in your other insecurities to get over after leaving Christianity and accepting my sexuality.
Pushing creationism gave me that initial insecurities and stop letting the past and societal expectations weigh me down.
Yeah, this is where it is. Okay. This out of the way. These were just thoughts that came to mind. Oh, I gotta start by cutting these down. Christianity and accepting my sexuality. One major realization hit me in the middle of college. I was alone in the basement and I broke down. Bawling my eyes out. I would have some other insecurities to get over after leaving Christianity and accepting my sexuality. Temptations weigh me down after leaving Christianity and accepting my sexuality. One major realization hit me in the middle of college. After leaving the past and societal expectations weigh me down. After leaving Christianity and accepting my sexuality, one major realization hit me in the middle of college. And this is gonna be another thing I have to say for another video. I was alone in the basement and I broke down.
bawling my eyes out, realizing that I am everything they say that everything they said I would be. Realizing that I am everything everything they said I would be. They said I would be. I would get over my personal insecurities and stop letting them gave me that initial push. Life is full of ironies.
Actually, cut it right here.
So I would have some other insecurities to get over after leaving.
Right here. Ah. I'm just letting people, bring up this people with speed. They'll find it. I think people will find it amusing.
Ironies. Is full of ironies. Though I would have some other insecurities to get over after leaving Christianity
Tucker.
and accepting
Tucker.
my sexuality. One
You open the door?
major realization
Tucker.
hit me
Tucker.
in the
Come here,
middle
Tucker.
of college.
Come here,
I was,
Tucker.
I was
Tucker.
alone in the
Tucker.
basement
Come here.
and I broke down,
Come here.
bawling my eyes
here.
out,
Come here, Tucker.
realizing that I
Tucker.
am everything they said I would be.
Tucker.
This is
Where's
after my
Tucker?
first relationship
Can't find
and
him.
before my next few relationships that would come about.
Alright.
This is after my first relationship and
Let's get this in order here.
though I would have some other insecurities to get over after though I would have some other insecurities to get over after leaving Christianity and accepting my sexuality.
Alright, see, like, first we gotta start cutting this down. Also, we gotta normalize the audio, make sure we're at the same level here.
Gave me that initial push. Life is full of ironies. Though I would have some other insecurities to get over.
Alright, so it seems like this is the volume.
After leaving Christianity and accepting my sexuality, one major realization hit me. Middle of college, I was alone. I was alone. College. I was alone. Middle of college, I was alone in the basement and I broke down, bawling my eyes out, realizing that I am everything they said I would be. This is after my first relationship and
I don't remember exactly if it was that now I think about it, but I think it was around there.
this is after my first relationship and before my next few relationships that would come about. After my first relationship
That's not really
and
important, really.
before my next, nonetheless, looked at what I was, but nonetheless, looked at what I was and realized in many ways that I conformed to these expectations set upon me. I set upon myself. Self-fulfilling prophecy, perhaps. Yet again, it comes back to that moment. 10 years old. At this point, it was 15 years ago. Should I have finished the job? Perhaps. And yet again, it comes back to that moment. Years
and they wouldn't act the way I was. Even though these people were no longer in my life and never would be ever again.
No, these people were no longer in my life and never would be ever again. I would think that they would act again, and they wouldn't act the way I was imagining them. I knew this, but I could not help it and think. I knew this.
And I hope I get this done this weekend. I do want to get to like the next page of my book and shit.
Them. I knew this, but I could not help it and think. Wow, Andy.
So even though I get this video done, I'm gonna hold off on publishing it for a while. I'll keep it on my Patreon. That's it.
Think. Wow, Andy. Where's your successful art career, Andy? Wow, Andy. Why aren't you working for MTV or something right now, Andy?
Gotta turn that up.
It and think. Wow, Andy.
There needs to be a pause after think.
Could not help it and think. Wow, Andy. Where's your successful art career, Andy? Wow, Andy. Why aren't you working for MTV or something right now, Andy? Look at you. Weirdo. Freak.
I can do this part better.
How do you expect to be accepted by the masses when you're such an abnormal?
Weirdo. Freak. How do you expect to be accepted by anyone? Anyone who truly knows you is just going to assume that you're a piece of shit. How do you expect the general populace to accept you in any way when you're such an abnormal? Really knows you.
How do you expect to be accepted by the masses?
It's just going to assume that you're a piece
an abnormal.
of shit.
Now, Andy, look at you. Weirdo. Freak. How do you expect to be accepted by anyone? How do you expect the general populace to accept you in any way when you're such an abnormal? Did by anyone? How do you expect the general accepted by anyone? How do you expect the general populace to accept you in any way when you're such an abnormal?
It's just going to assume that you're a piece of shit.
comes back to that moment.
Normal.
And yet again, it comes back to that moment. 10 years old. At this point, it was 15 years ago. Should I have finished the job? Years ago. Should I have finished the job? I've followed through with what I intended to do. With what I intended to do. It's pretty ridiculous looking back at that moment too. And even now, 10 years later, and even now, over 10 years since then. Because what have I actually done? At that moment too. Pretty ridiculous looking back at that moment too. Pretty ridiculous looking back at that moment too. And even now, 10 years later, even now, even now, not just making artwork or working on a book, maintaining a relationship and a family, taking care of a puppers now.
I feel like I was a little lethargic when I recorded this. I probably should just re-record it right now.
Or not just making artwork or working on a book, maintaining a relationship and a family, taking care of a puppers now. What have I done to justify this self-loathing that I have? What did I do to actually justify that self-loathing that I had at that time and carried with me for a few more years? What have I done to actually justify that self-loathing that I had at that time?
And they wouldn't act the way I was imagining them. I knew this, but I could not help it and think, wow, Andy, where's... I didn't just want a normal job. Imagining them. I knew this, but I could TV or something right now, Andy. Look at you. We're
Actually justify taking care of a puppers now. What have I done to justify this self-loathing that I have? What did I do to actually justify taking care of a puppers now? What did I do to actually justify that self-loathing that I had at that time and carried with me for a few more years? It was just existing. Loathing that I had at that time and carried with me for
Keep the flow going.
thing that I had at loathing that I had at that time and carried with me for a few more years. It was just existing. It was just taking space. No dead bodies hiding in my basement. He's hiding in my basement.
A string of victims.
No,
I didn't just want a
no.
I didn't just want a normal
basement. There are no string of victims from my wrath. Was this there? Was this there? Not conforming to the normal expectations. I'm just there. Not fitting into the mold. Wrath. I was just there. I'm just there. Not fitting into the mold of normalcy.
Love being here, Bob. Yeah, I want to take it. I'm making a traditional book. 10 by 10 people, 1 like. Thank you, Danny Rossi. Appreciate that. Oh wait, I know a group I can talk to that will keep me secret. Get my Discord up here. Yeah, I want to open up. What is with Facebook's useless fucking... God damn.
Not fitting into the mold of normalcy. And somehow that's enough to make you feel like a terrible person.
My husband's home, yay. I'll be right back. I also linked some screenshots. Switch to Messenger. It's a pain in the ass for some reason to get back to the goddamn main page. I gotta go back to my introduction. Oh, I'm back now. Anyways. Keep adding things to this. I need to stop adding things. I think I got everything I need to add to this.
Even though you haven't really done any harm to make you feel like a terrible person. Even though you haven't really done any harm to anyone, at least not at least not at any level. Done any harm to anyone, at least not at any level that you often hear. News or even witness yourself among your peers.
Or even what's done to you.
Often hear. The other connection that comes to mind, and the other connection to this would also be the fact that many people this would also be the fact that many people won't understand you unless they are able to put themselves in your shoes or they have a similar experience to draw upon. No, there's no explanation, no string of words. They understand you unless they are able to put themselves in your shoes or they have won't understand you.
Yeah, well, that's a given, so we can just cut that part out. Whoa. Fuck. Oh. Let me jump to the end.
No, there's no explanation able to put themselves in your shoes or they have a similar experience to draw upon. And you know there's no explanation, no string of words.
Green alpha, Gen alpha humor, eh? Alright, I'll bite.
My style is ridiculous.
Give me the dum dum dum, yes yes. Give me the dum dum dim dim. Give me the dum dum dum, yes yes. Give me the dum dum dim dim.
My style is ridiculous.
Give me the dum dum dum, yes yes. Give me the dum dum dim dim. Give me the dum dum dum, yes yes. Give me the dum dum dim dim.
We're here to hurt the body.
Give me this, give me this, give me this.
My style is ridiculous.
My style is ridiculous.
Give me the dum dum dum, yes yes. Give me the dum dum dim dim. Give me the dum dum dum, yes yes. Give me the dum dum dim dim.
You know, if this happens enough, it'll be just like over 9,000, and eventually it'll just be funny to me because of how oversaturated and overdone it is. And by the time it's funny to me, it'll be funny to no one else.
My style is ridiculous.
Just get more unhinged as it goes. Toilet. Okay.
My style is
I think the skibbity thing is a song because I've seen that done before from another guy. Which is funny because there's skibbity from Little Big. There it is.
Know that thing upon this throne I'm ready for their stone.
Stimmity bop 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 bop. Yes, yes, yes. Stimmity dip, stimmity bop, stimmity bop bop.
Know that thing upon this throne I'm ready for their stone.
Stimmity bop 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 bop. Yes, yes, yes. Stimmity dip, stimmity bop, stimmity bop bop.
I don't know how he pulls these off too, by the way. I know it's a filter for his face, obviously, but the janky movements are pretty awesome. I imagine a high frame rate. And he's obviously doing the moves.
Wee! How you doing?
Oh, don't look at me like that. They were asking for it.
Get it? Give me a second.
You can no explanation, no draw upon. They are able to put themselves in your shoes, or they have a similar experience to draw upon you, unless they are able to put themselves in your. People won't understand you. Able to put them.
It's just a given.
Understand you, and you know there's no explanation, no string of words you can come up with that would make them truly understand.
Weird interests and ideas that I wanted to explore. And I didn't
would make them truly understand, let alone be accepting of who or what you are. Let alone be accepting of what you are. Be accepting of what you are, and for them to understand that what you are has nothing to do with who you are. Sense of principles and ethics you carry. sense of principles and ethics you carry.
I'm curious about seeing Henry Rollins next week. See if there's anything recent of him. 6 years ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Australia. How's it feel?
Oh, amazing. I love it here. And this was, I think, the third attempt to book a tour because, you know, COVID was no fun. And so the fact that I was actually on a plane a few days ago for Melbourne was incredible.
All of a sudden don't matter.
Wow. You've been here many times before. What is it about Australia that you keep coming back for?
Yeah, I came here for the first time in 1989, landed in Sydney with a bunch of band shows to do. And as soon as I was walking around, I just said, I like it here. And then I started meeting audiences every night, and they liked us, and we liked them. I liked everything from the way the trees are, the flora and fauna, all the animals that can kill you, of course. And Australians, my experience at least, has been they're a sunny bunch.
Don't have the same
really good bands. And great and tremendous audiences. And in my line of work, if there's a good audience, like go to them right now. And so it's been basically that kind of love affair. And I've never had a bad time here. And it's been, I think this is my 40-something journey to Australia from elsewhere.
Hey, so do you actually get time to see any music when you're here? Because you have got a schedule that made me tired just looking at it.
Yeah, if there's a night off and and I'm such a fan of bands here. I have a radio show. I play a lot of Australian music. If there's a show I can see, I'll probably go unless I got too much of a flight the next day or something. Absolutely. I was here a few years ago doing a project with Mercedes-Benz, and I had a night off, I believe in Melbourne, and some bands were playing that I love, and I got to go see Australian bands in Australia. That was awesome. So yeah, I'd go if I could.
Those people have.
So tell us, what can fans expect from your show this time around? Because so many of your shows, you cover so many different things. You challenge societal norms, you make people think, and then you tell these amazing anecdotes, sometimes with a bit of meaning and a moral of a story.
It comes to myself, at least.
You make people laugh. What can people expect this time around?
This is the first tour I'll be doing in at least 128 years. That doesn't have a big travel story.
As far as I'm concerned.
Because usually, you know, Henry goes to North Korea, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Pakistan, Antarctica, all these places that I did go. With COVID, I could not travel.
Everyone is going to have to deal with me.
Luckily or unluckily,
whether they
during
like it or
COVID,
not.
Well, the big lockdown part of it, enough crazy stuff happened to me in my home in Los Angeles, where I ended up with these crazy stories. And so
I see
that
myself,
populates some of
when it comes to myself
at matter.
Least,
the rest is
I'm
a few
just
ideas of where this century's going.
The experiences
not to be too political
me.
or too boring, but I'm not happy about the way I see some things, and I have some solutions. and
as far as I'm concerned,
you know, we got to work more, getting along better with each other, and so that's part of it.
As far as I'm concerned,
about 170 shows into this tour.
Wow.
We started in March of last year, so I kind of know what I'm going to do up there.
As far as I'm
just going to wing it.
No, never. Oh no, I never wing anything. No,
Oh really?
No. I prepare. Prepare is good for me.
Yeah.
We've heard so many different ways to describe you, and you've had so many different, you know, little changes in your career along the way. You've done so many things. How would you describe yourself?
Whether they like it or
jackass of all tirades. I come from the minimum wage working world of the late 1970s, early 1980s, and so I was scooping ice cream, and I said yes to an audition for a band called Black Flag, and they said, "Come on!" And I left my hometown of Washington D.C. with a bunch of clothes and $6 $20 bills. And the rest, as they say, is history. That's many, many years ago. And so I say yes to things. Just like, who am I to say no? Ice cream scoop guy. Like, you want to be in a movie? Yeah. And so all these things have come my way. I'll show up, because why wouldn't you? And that's kind of, that's been the story.
As they say, the best.
I never really had a plan. I ended up doing all this
whether
stuff,
they like it or
and
not.
it's been cool so far.
As they say, the best
but mainly
revenge
show up on time
is living a successful
and say yes
life.
and try things out, and don't be afraid to make a big fool of
At this
yourself.
point,
You're a
I
star
feel there's
yourself, and yet I still love the way you
At this point,
react
I feel
when
there's
the stars react to you.
living a successful
it's gorgeous.
life. And at this point, I feel
when
there's
someone
nothing
you admire
anyone could
walks
ever
over
do
you and calls you
to
by
me
your name.
short
Because I'm a record store guy. Buy records, go buy the poster, put it on the wall. I'm 62. I still buy those like personality posters because I like that guy. I like that band. And every once in a while you meet someone like that and they'll go, yo, hey, Henry. You're like, shut up. And
it was like Al Pacino. I think I was reading about, you know, when you'd had something to do with Al Pacino and just the, you know, that connection.
The strangest audition I ever did for a film. The audition was you're going to have lunch with Al Pacino. If he likes you, you get the part in the film.
Could you eat?
It was free food, so it was really good. And at the end of the meal, he looks at the director of the film. I like him. And that's how I got in the film. And every morning I'd say, you know, very collegial on set, I'd say hello to Al Pacino. I'd go, good morning, Al. How are you? Henry, I'm not so good. And he would give you all these details. My dog has run away. We can't find him. And like he'd put his hand on your shoulder and walk you to catering. And I talk to him every day. Just because, you know, we're raised up with his films. And so, but as far as an audition, like eat lunch correctly and maybe get a part in the film. So free lunch, fun film, Heat. And never had another audition remotely like that.
Hey, Henry, it's been so...
In Heat. Wait, was he the guy who got shot?
Charlene Sheridan. Drucker's got a safe house in Venice to stash her in.
Yeah, I like how Wally shit that is. Jack Frost. Or Johnny McMinick. Oh,
how much time we got?
You ratted McCully to us. How'd you know? Who told you? Who told you, you rat motherfucker? Who?
I don't remember that at all. I need to see this movie again.
First period's behind us. Forget about it. God knows I'm gonna try. Look, I know you're just kids. And we're really here to teach you about fair play and sportsmanship and all that crap. But I am so tired of looking up at that scoreboard and seeing that we're behind the Devils again and again and again.
Lighten up, Dad.
Sorry. History is made by winners, conquerors, barbarians. Now I want you to go out there and wipe the ice with your filthy butts! All right? Play clean, have a good game.
Sure as hell not going, and I'm sure
anxious to get this video made.
Expectations that are assumed of me. I really do love defying negative expectations that are assumed of me. I enjoy are assumed of me. I enjoy expressing myself in a public manner. Partly due to desire, partly due to spite.
Oh.
Love it or hate it. There's nothing you can do much. There's not much you can do about it.
To say love me or hate me, but whatever.
Love it or hate it, there's not much you can do about it. As they say, the best revenge is living a successful life. What you determine as successful, well, that's all up to the individual.
And that rolls right into the next part.
Normalcy, and somehow important things instead of fighting with myself. A year later after this, I figured out Christianity was a whole lot of bullshit. Reading the Bible helps that, but hypocritical Christians pushing creationism gave me that initial push. Life is full of ironies. Though I would have some other insecurities to get over after leaving Christianity and accepting my sexuality. One major realization hit me in the middle of college. I was alone in the basement and I broke down, bawling my eyes out, realizing that I am everything they said I would be. I looked at what I was and realized in many ways that I conformed to these expectations set upon me, that I set upon myself. A self-fulfilling prophecy, perhaps. Even though these people were no longer in my life and never would be ever again, and they wouldn't act the way I was imagining them, I knew this, but I could not help it and think, wow, Andy, where's your successful art career, Andy? Wow, Andy, why aren't you working for MTV or something right now, Andy? Look at you, weirdo, freak. How do you expect to be a self-fulfilling prophecy?
I just wanted to make this message. Oh, interesting. Streamer mode hides your own username in Discord.
Instead of fighting with myself. A year later after this, I figured I started my first job at Blockbuster thanks to my connections with John, yet again. Going into college, the effects all my negative experiences I had, including my personal shame I had yet to overcome, would continue to challenge me for the next 6 years out of high school. I get my first real girlfriend at 19 years old. The relationship would fail spectacularly due to my influence from friends feeling guilty over having sex before marriage and my other sexual fantasies that were still conflicting within me. After many hours, years wasted at 21, I would finally declare God would have to understand this aspect of me and become more accepting of myself. My porn addiction was getting out of hand. It was insane. I was spending multiple hours downloading the same images, deleting them, and then downloading them again. Shaming myself out of it only made the situation worse. Life is full of ironies, and when I finally said, fuck it, God's gonna have to understand this, that this whole cycle finally ended. And I was able to focus more of my energy on important things instead of fighting with myself.
Yeah, fucking... Must be nice.
A year later after this, I figured out Christianity was a whole lot of bullshit. Reading the Bible helps that, but hypocritical Christians pushing creationism gave me that initial push. Life is full of ironies. Though I would have some other insecurities to get over after leaving Christianity and accepting my sexuality, one major realization hit me in the middle of college. I was alone in the basement and I broke down, bawling my eyes out, realizing that I am everything they said I would be. I looked at what I was and realized in many ways that I conformed to these expectations set upon me, that I set upon myself. A self-fulfilling prophecy, perhaps. Even though these people were no longer in my life and never would be ever again, and they wouldn't act the way I was imagining them, I knew this, but I could not help it and think, wow, Andy, where's your successful art career, Andy? Wow, Andy, why aren't you working for MTV or something right now, Andy? Look at you. Weirdo. Freak. How do you expect to be accepted by anyone? How do you expect the general populace to accept you in any way when you're such an abnormal? And yet again, it comes back to that moment, 10 years old. At this point, it was 15 years ago. Should I have finished the job? Should I have followed through with what I intended to do? It's pretty ridiculous looking back at that moment too. And even now, over 10 years since then, because what have I actually done? Not just making artwork or working on a book, maintaining a relationship and a family, taking care of a puppers now. What did I do to actually justify that self-loathing that I had at that time and carried with me for a few more years? It was just existing. It was just taking space. There were no dead bodies hiding in my basement. There were no string of victims from my wrath. I'm just there, not fitting into the mold of normalcy. And somehow that's enough to make you feel like a terrible person, even though you haven't really done any harm to anyone, at least not at any level that you often hear. And the other connection to this would also be the fact that many people won't understand you, and you know there's no explanation, no string of words you can come up with that would make them truly understand, let alone be accepting of what you are, and for them to understand that what you are has nothing to do with who you are. The sense of principles and ethics you carry all of a sudden don't matter because you don't dress the right way, you don't express yourself the right way, you don't have the same attractions that most people have. When it comes to myself, at least, I'm a result of the experiences put upon me. And as far as I'm concerned, everyone is going to have to deal with me, whether they like it or not. Because as they say, the best revenge is living a successful life. And at this point, I feel there's nothing anyone could ever do to me short of ending me, ending my existence. And I'm sure as hell not going to be the one to strike first. And I'm sure as hell not going to be the one to strike first. I'm sure as hell not going to be the one to strike first. And I'm strike first. I really do love define the negative expectations. Define the negative expectations that are assumed of me. I enjoy expressing myself in a public manner, partly due to desire, partly due to spite. Love it or hate it, there's not much you can do about it. As they say, the best revenge is living a successful life. What you determine as successful, well, that's all up to the individual.
I didn't just want a normal job, I didn't want kids, and I had a lot of weird interests and ideas that I wanted to explore. And so, I did. I stepped out of my comfort zone when it came to public events, sharing my interests, overcoming my personal demons. Overall, though, it involved a lot of luck. I've seen plenty of people that I would consider a reflection of what could have been if one or two factors were not met. What got me through was first having parents who at least gave a shit. Yeah, I could complain about them not pushing me for meaningful conversations to make sure I'm doing all right, but that would be nitpicking. Home life, despite the tension between me and my siblings, was overall relief at the stress at school. I had my own TV, privacy, and video games. It was having a friend I could actually confide in. One that was grounded in reality, not a believer in religion, and not lost in escapism like many kids we saw would be and through gaming and TV shows. I was able to actually express emotion to him and him vice versa. And we actually had a mutual understanding of keeping our secrets and not being judgmental. Expanding my horizons in terms of understanding other people and the world we live in gave me more of a grip on just how meaningless all this shit was. In the 9th grade, when we started, we had a pep rally. And I remember how we would just sit there and sulk, like, oh, this is so fucking pointless. I don't give a fuck. By the time the 12th grade hit, we were jumping up in the air, stomping our feet, clapping our hands, and screaming as loud and obnoxiously as we could. Because we didn't give a fuck anymore. None of this shit mattered, and we knew it was all going away within the year. The music I was drawn to definitely helped. Metallica and 9 Inch Nails especially. I would be in denial over liking Marilyn Manson for the next several years, but thankfully, Trent Reznor and Metallica wasn't openly declared as anti-Christian. So I listened to songs like Heresy and The God That Failed in peace. The words of Henry Rollins would forever stick with me. The I know you bit is something I accidentally discovered one day while legally downloading music. The words of Henry God That Failed in peace. Rollins would forever stick with me. The I know you bit is something I accidentally discovered one day while legally downloading music through my 56K modem, and helped me understand that my situation was not at all unique. One of the best video games ever made would come out a year out of high school. 2005 Super Columbine Massacre RPG. It still exists today and can be downloaded for free. There's also a documentary around it called Playing Columbine I would recommend. Despite whatever your assumptions may be on the title, it delves into the feelings and ideas behind the massacre. It brought me to understand just how much delusion of grandeur and arrogant self-importance can grow in a person when they are isolated from the greater world around them. I definitely saw another path that I could have definitely went down on if factors were not in my favor. It's not so much that I made the right friends, but what would have happened if I made the wrong friends. There were times in school me and my friends had elitist superiority complexes compared to our much more popular and likely future successful peers. Thinking that because we were the outcasts and had more time to think for ourselves and contemplate our place in this world we live in, that somehow made us better human beings by default. Then for me it was belief in God and having a sense of morals. Pretty easy to be all puritanical when it comes to sex, when no one would date you, and your sexual desires don't exactly respond to the human form. Which leads me to the final piece to this puzzle. In 2008, my friend John was going through a rough spot in his life, and out of desperation to save him from self-destructing, I told him the one secret I kept from him and everyone all those years. And I'm a furry. Even now, and then I cringe saying it still. Am I that self-aware at this point? Well, for lack of a better way to describe it, that's what I am. The last big push from John was to go to a furry convention, and after that, I ended up finding a new group of friends I could count on. As our high school circle broke apart and our friendships became strained, I became accepting of my bisexuality. What you normally get to do in high school when it comes to navigating through different relationships, I got to do that with myself over the next 2 years at 25. I found the first out of 2 people I would see to have as permanently part of my now polyamorous marriage. It was through that and other friendly connections I ended up with a full-time job I actually don't despise, and be in a position to do more fulfilling stuff like this in my spare time. It cannot be stressed enough how much luck was involved here. If I happened to make no friends, or the wrong friends in high school, got lost in online chat rooms, being drawn to the worst kinds of people, I just as easily could have ended up as another statistic or some kind of NEET, leeching off of mommy and daddy. Instead of going outside my social comfort zones, I could have just easily stayed home and marinated in my loneliness instead. I just want to make it clear that I understand these things could have played out a lot differently if given the right circumstances or things happening outside of my control. Many people will try to claim divine intervention or simply lie about being pure of heart as to why they are better today. That is bullshit. And likely will lead to some cult, book, or pyramid scheme to sign up for. The only thing here I'm leading up to is like, subscribe, and consider becoming a patron. Thanks. There's a book that comes to mind. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. He uses in this an analogy of
Alright. I gotta go. I gotta get lunch. I gotta go to work. Good night.